That Comic Podcast.
Hello, welcome to That Comic Podcast. I'm your host, Minty, and with me as always are my wonderful sidekicks. First, Mr. Mashko.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, can I kick it?
There he is. There, we're all coming off that con crud. All of us dealing with the aftermath still. And then there's P Feature.
Hello, Internet.
And then the wonder who was not with us, but was in spirits, but had to deal with his own nonsense, is Baby Huey.
What's going on?
Not Super Jersey Comic Expo for you.
No. Stupid work.
Yeah, it was a shame. That was a shame.
Stupid work.
Stupid work and jobs and
Stupid making
careers.
money.
Paychecks and stuff. Jeez. Well, yeah, hey, welcome. This is going to be an interesting show because we are fresh off of Super Jersey Comic Expo, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't even realize it was Tuesday, and we usually record on Monday, so we are all sorts of out of it. So this is going to be a hodgepodge of a show if there's ever been one, but we do have some things to talk about, and the show has to go on. Andor Season 2, Last of Us Episode 3, and because of we didn't get a chance to talk about Episode 2, plus we just want to talk about Super Jersey Comic Expo before we get into this week's books. But yeah, first off, how are we all feeling? Because I've slept so much in the last 2 days. How about you, Boschko? How you doing over there?
I'm good. I actually had worse sleep going into the con than the night after the first day, and then over the weekend. For whatever reason, I don't know. I slipped past the con crud. Didn't hit me, so that's good.
Well,
It's always a plus.
We got hit with more than just the con crud. I will never get a hotel up there ever again. That's I am not doing that again. That was a mistake.
What happened?
Well, how you feeling, Features?
I mean, I got the best rest I possibly could when we got home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Features was on the floor of a hotel where they wouldn't give us a rollout, a cot, even extra blankets, and just getting pillows and a blanket was a nightmare.
A lot of hotels don't do that anymore.
Which is a shame because it's on their website that they do it.
That's
false
false advertisement. Take that down then.
All right, whatever. But that's here nor there, and I'm going to throw him under the bus because I love him and I don't care. Then we roomed with Mike from ComicUniverse, and
oh no,
ooh, buddy, was that a mistake?
Woo.
Love that man to death, but that dude snores worse than Maurer could possibly imagine. And I don't know if you've longtime listeners know that Maurer's snoring and myself have a feud been going on for a long time. But wow, Mike snores like he's in harmony.
And look, Maurer is considerate. He brings earplugs for people that are rooming with him.
Oh, we had to buy earplugs and they did nothing.
Yeah.
They did nothing.
The earplugs, they do nothing.
They do nothing. No, really, for real, it was. I mean, again, it sounded like multiple people snoring at once, trying to form a harmony. Like they were harmonizing with themselves.
Not to mention the jet plane that whatever that.
Oh
was.
yeah, right by.
You should have did that. You should have did that little video. You know
No, that's not how it worked. All of a sudden, the room started shaking multiple times throughout the night because we're so close to an airport. This is the worst hotel experience I've ever had. Oh yeah, it was a military. It was a military base.
military base. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So. Multiple times throughout the night, it was like, "What the hell is happening?" I swore we were getting like something was going to crash into us the first time it happened, but then I was soothed back to sleep by the sounds of Mike's nostrils. So, needless to say, I got no sleep. And my favorite part of the whole thing is Mike kept waking up, going, "Oh, I got horrible sleep. Man, these beds are rough. These are just so." Anybody else sleeping bad?
Meanwhile, he's sitting there going.
Oh, we're mainlining coffee. We're splinting off with a Wawa Wawa cup of coffee. Like, all right, let's do this. Yeah,
it was.
It was awful. It was an awful experience. But the con was something special. That was a really, really cool experience, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But I think the first thing we need to do is play a little bit of catch up. And really, that's the only reason we're doing this show. I'm sure there's other news. I'm sure we could have done some research. But honestly, if you've been following us for a long time, we usually take a week off after cons because they take a lot out of you.
Yeah.
But we can't today. We can't. We have too much to do, and there's too much to talk about. So we're at least going to play a little catch up so we're not just drowning next week.
I think it would be good to say welcome all the new wonderful subscribers that have joined us over the last
absolutely.
week.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We're
It was
great.
great seeing everybody at the booth.
Hi, I'm Huey. Sorry I missed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because work and stuff.
Yeah, stupid work.
You saw his picture though. He's on the part. Half of his face was on the banner.
Yeah,
You saw a smidge of his cartoon face.
Right.
But yeah, if this is your first show, I apologize. Go back and listen to some other ones because I'm still dealing with Super Jersey Comic Expo. I'll be honest, I probably will next week too. But with that being said, let's get into Andor because Andor season 2 finally dropped. We had 3 episodes of that. We actually did the day we're recording this. We've got 3 more to watch.
Yeah.
So this show's coming out like bolt of lightning each week. Yeah. Well, it's because I kind of get it. I mean, I was actually talking to John over at ComicUniverse, who's a regular that has helped us out on a couple things. He made a great point, which is they're drop-ing it to almost seem like they're releasing a movie each week. They're releasing like a damn near a full-length movie where you don't have to worry as much about waiting with a cliffhanger about characters you're not as interested in.
I mean, I can understand 2 episodes, but 3?
I would prefer 2. To be honest, I prefer 2.
2 is
3's a little
enough.
much.
Yeah.
2 is
Well,
enough.
how many episodes is it in its entirety?
That's what I was just going to check.
That's what Huey's for. By the way, for those that are new, this is Huey's job.
Depending on how
I'm
many.
working.
Jamie, look it up.
Depending on how many, like if it's 9, then it's almost perfect. You have your 3-story arc, so you have 3 groups of 3 episodes.
Sure.
I mean, the first 3 did feel like its own, like episode 1 kind of thing. Yeah.
It had a phenomenal open. Oh, go ahead, Huey.
So it's actually 12 episodes.
Okay.
All right.
Is it 4?
4 acts. It's a 4-act structure.
Yeah.
But going into the first 2 episodes, the escape with the prototype TIE fighter. By the way, spoiler alert to some degree. Well, I'm going to try and keep the spoilers to a minimum, but I would argue it's best to have seen the show before you start listening to this. But first, the escape was outstanding. I really enjoyed that. I'm like, wow, Andor is taking off right in the beginning. Not unlike last season, because I mean, my stance on last season, I know Mashko, you loved it from beginning to end, but I thought it was slow up until the prison, and once the prison happened, it became outstanding, and it earned all of the accolades it got from that moment on. But I thought the storytelling was too slow paced and focused on characters that I didn't really care about, and I still don't understand why some of those shots in there, like I still don't understand the mom and the cereal scene with the one Storm Imperial who was a little too gung-ho to be a part of the team. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Why we spent time at the breakfast table with them, I still don't understand, but okay.
It was to establish his character as being a mama's boy.
Great. And that paid off so much. that paid off in wonderful ways. And maybe it will this season.
Now.
I heard this season's supposed to focus on that character a lot more.
Yeah.
And I love that Fennec's there. And so I do like the continuation of connecting to Rogue One going around the corner. I mean, we also know K2SO is going to make an appearance, and I'm sure we'll see some other cameos throughout the season. But I will say it was a slow burn. I will be up front and say I haven't watched episode 3 yet, so feel free to spoil it. My fault. I messed up. Feel free to spoil. I did it. I said I was going to watch it, and
that's
then
where all the controversial stuff went down.
I figured.
Wow.
But you know what? Feature's going to test this. We were watching episode 1, we watched episode 2, and I was passing out.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I was passing out. And again, it's not that it's bad, it's just slow.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if you saw me, but my eyes were drooping every now and then. So I had to like keep sitting forward and back just to stay.
I mean, plus you guys just got done a con.
Right. That's more consistent.
I watched it before.
No, we watched it. We tried watching it last night, and you would think after watching Star Wars, you'd be like, jazz, like, yeah. And no, I fell asleep at like 90 minutes. At 9:30 at night, I was asleep.
Yeah.
It did not do well in keeping me awake, and it also didn't pass the phone test. For anybody who's new, since we got a bunch of you, phone tests is when you have the urge to look down at your phone while something is on that you're supposed to be enjoying. And yeah, I looked at my phone many times.
Yeah, I did.
I liked it. I liked I liked the side quest feeling of the crew that he was supposed to meet, and then there was the backstabbing group trying to figure out food that were like huddled down by the experimental X-wing. I mean, it was cool, but it all felt mission-y. It was like, all right, well, can we just get to the plot now? Let's move forward a little bit. And I know, Moshko, you're going to love it, but it's okay. It's okay, and it'll probably turn out to be great. But so far, I'm thinking it's just okay.
I like a show that takes a while to get going.
Really?
So if you're familiar with White Lotus, that's a show that is a very slow burn, but begins to pay off, and there is a huge, wonderful ending.
People rave about that show.
That's the type of storytelling I like. So that's kind of what we're seeing with Andor. Not so much Last of Us. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, but slow burns work. Absolutely, they work, but they only work when you set it off in a way that wants me to be interested in your characters for long term.
Well, we've already had a full season of said characters. I mean, we know
except for they introduced a bunch of new ones, like the side plot with the him meeting his cohort in the woods who's missing and was taken out by the second Rebels team that wasn't the real Rebels.
Right.
I get it, but
which was exciting when they started to break free and like the backstabbing started, and it's like obviously trying to show us how disconnected the origin of the rebellion was, and we saw that leading up into Rogue One when even Andor shot somebody. So we see how these rebel groups, even though they are all fighting for a somewhat similar cause, aren't truly connected just yet. And I think that's the point of what they were trying to show.
I'm glad you resolved that, because I was just saying, like, does this have to be a whole episode? Because I felt like it could have been shorter. We could have got a lot more out of it.
I'm sure there's going to be some moment they're going to reference later on in a speech that to rile the troops of like we weren't connected, and that was his.
You felt like that was the whole first episode.
First two, yeah.
So you're not all the other stories that are happening at the same time. You feel like
I could care less about Fennec and his advertising opportunities. His media, like I don't care. I mean, I'm sure it's going to pay off, but I don't care.
What I'll say is the most interesting stories that they are trying to get out there. I want to know what's going on with Cassian, because for me he's the main character, obviously, and then
in the name,
yeah, and then the Empire, what their plans are, like those are the most interesting things. And I get, Mon Mothma has whatever she has going on. Mothra. But honestly,
that's one of the more intriguing storylines.
It might be, but there's so many politics going into it, and you're not really seeing anything. It's just,
yeah, it's great. That's Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's the Star Wars I want to see. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good chunk of the prequels.
Yeah.
I'm good without seeing a lightsaber for a while.
Oh no,
well, that's the show. I mean, this is made by a guy who doesn't like Star Wars, so I mean, it's true he doesn't. So, and that's okay. I mean, I think
wait till you see the DJ droid. You'll be all about it.
I still think Rogue One is the best Disney property that's come out.
Oh
yeah. By far. And I still think Andor is one of the best Disney Plus things that they've been able to produce. I just think that season 1, similar to season 2, is relying too heavily on me enjoying the characters that I haven't really enjoyed in season 1. And that problem is that I'm finding myself looking at my phone in pivotal moments when people I'm supposed to care about are on screen. And I don't care. I thought I would. I didn't. And I can't blame the show because they're delivering exactly what they said they would deliver, but it's not the most enticing thing to me. And I'm sure that to others, like for example, you're like, I don't want to see a lightsaber. To me, that's Star Wars. The politics and the Trade Federation and the embargoes and all that stuff is not. And it is part and parcel to Star Wars, as we know from the original script when they made that into a comic. Mm-hmm. I mean, that whole thing was littered with trade embargoes, and it's the original plot to Star Wars was much more politics heavy.
Without that, you don't have a battle. I mean, you don't.
Sure, but I don't need to focus on it like how the original trilogy had all that, but we focus more on an individual family and the mysticism of Star Wars, because that's what's so great about this franchise is that it is a lot for a lot of people. I mean, if you want it to be a spaghetti western, you've got it. If you want it to be a samurai showdown, you got it. If you want it to be space battles, if you got it. If you want it to be politics, you got it. I mean, it is a multifaceted franchise that can deliver on multiple fronts, but that doesn't mean that every fan is going to appreciate everything. And that's what Andor is. It is a specialized project, we'll call it.
Yeah.
For those that want more of the Trade Federation.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not gonna say that I don't like a slow burn, but I told Minty this earlier when we were watching. I was like, I think I let myself be fooled a little bit by the trailers, because I was expecting a little bit more action than that. So, but that's on me. So
I wasn't. I was amazed with what we got. I was like, wow, get out of here. I love him trying to escape in the TIE Fighter. I can't say enough about that, because it got me jazzed so quickly right off the bat to get into this, like the spy and the espionage stuff. And then the spy and espionage stuff stopped real quick.
Yeah.
It did.
And that's okay. It's a slow burn, and I'm sure it's going to come together at the end, and I'm going to love it. But I will say,
it comes together with a big bang.
Okay, so something tells me we're missing out on episode 3.
No, episode 3 is the controversial episode.
No, I just mean like the damn planet blows up.
Oh, the planet blows up.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. But they did. They definitely alluded to it.
They alluded to it in the first.
The third episode really does pull together the first 2 episodes. So
I am going into this a bit blind, and I am not giving it its full credit, because I do want to make sure that it is known that I do think that Andor should be made. It should continue in the way it's been written, because it is for a specialized fan, but it also does a great job of adding puzzle pieces in a beautiful way that we needed, like the birth of the rebellion. Like,
yes,
it does. But the problem with season 1 as well is that it makes the mistake of thinking I care about Andor right off the bat, and him hunting his sister is not that interesting to me. A lot of the characters, that the way they introduce them, I didn't find very interesting. I really didn't think it hit its stride until the prison sequence, and that whole prison arc made me fall in love with him, because now I'm seeing his ingenuity, and now I'm seeing his potential, and now I'm seeing him as a character when put in these ridiculous, crazy odds, opposed to I'm hunting my sister, which we all can relate to,
right?
But I don't know his sister. And I feel for you, but you also, the same guy that I saw when I first met you murdered a good guy the moment we met you. I mean, that's how you start. So in my head, you're not the best person at this point. So I'm not rooting for you right now. So, and that's my point, is the show doesn't really give you anyone to root for right away, and you get there, but it's kind of a hard sell to some fans that are used to like Jedi, Sith. Good. This is coming from like the mind of George Lucas, who was like, he's wearing black, you'll know he's the bad guy. For real, that's not what he said about when Darth Vader first showed up on set. They were like, shouldn't we call him a Sith or something? He's like, nah, he's all in black. They'll know.
It's like, keep it simple. We'll get it.
Yeah. But then you find out that the color scheme and the way they're dressed plays a big role. It's why Luke's wearing white in the first in episode 4, and why he's wearing gray in episode 5, and in 6 why he's first in black, and then the patch falls down. You see it's white, so you think he went to the dark side based on the because that's how George Lucas thought it. So now to then go to the kind of slow burn of Andor, where he's just like, well, we don't know who to root for yet.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, we all know how Rogue One ends, so we know.
Sure,
yeah,
but in the beginning, Andor shoots a guy for giving him the information he needed. That's how. The first time you see Andor, he murders his informant who's on his side.
Yeah,
that's how he opens it, and it was to show us how dark the rebellion was in the beginning, and that's what we're seeing, and we're seeing that with the other tribe of rebels that didn't realize they were all part of the same rebellion. So I get the thing that they're setting up; it just makes it hard to follow. That's why the last episode is so impactful when everyone finally is like had enough, and Andor's mom gives that speech that's just phenomenal, and then we see everyone come together, and you're just like, yeah, take out the Empire. But now all of a sudden it's just like, yes, the Empire is terrible,
right.
But we also want to replace them with people who murder the people helping them get there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This show delves in the gray to a point where it's off-putting for those who are used to a story that's typically black and white as far as your heroes and villains.
Yeah, but all right.
It's not a bad thing for most storytelling, but for Star Wars, it's a little out there.
In that first season, though, that was more of an arc for Cassian. You saw him become you saw him begin as this very selfish person who's single-minded, and turn into somebody that's all right. This is bigger than me. Yeah, he's for the cause now, and that we get that too in the beginning of that first episode when he's telling the young woman like, no, don't be scared. Everything's gonna be fine. You chose this life, and it's meaningful to you. That therefore it has a meaning. And she's like, yeah. He pretty much said a whole bunch of almost nothing to get her kind of secure in the decisions that she made.
Well, to be fair, he needed her to be secure in the decisions that she made. She got screwed him over real quick. So it was for his best interest that he kept her happy and calm. Like, no, no one's gonna die. You made the right choice.
You'll be fine.
And again, I feel like I'm letting Mosh go down. I'm with you. It's good. It is. It is. It's just I prefer something quicker.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I watched it is
said.
probably the way you watched it. And I'm going to ignore that comment.
I know, because you wouldn't
the first
say that.
hour. I watched the first episode. I made it halfway through the second episode, and then I had to turn it off and go to bed because maybe we hit the same spot at the same time. We're like, okay, that's it. But when I watched the remainder of the second episode and the third episode, it definitely takes a turn. Kind of wish you guys watched it because I'd love to have a small conversation about that.
Let's do this.
But
let's pause. Let's pause right here.
No, we're not pausing right
No, hold on. Hear me.
Oh, no.
Hear me out.
Are we going to play a trick?
No. Pause.
No.
Pause.
Let us watch episode 3. I'll
3 and
rewatch episode
4, 5, and 6.
I'll
now.
rewatch. Oh, that's true. I'll also
Yeah.
rewatch episode 2 to give it its.
Just watch the second half of episode 2.
No, I'll watch the whole thing, and then let's revisit this when I am fully on page to have an actual conversation with you. Because you could spoil it, and I can have a conversation with you.
Well, it's
about
not
it.
like it's any. Yeah.
Well, something tells me it's the thing that the entire internet was about. Like another
It's not,
thing.
though. That wasn't even like a.
It was a throwaway.
It wasn't a throwaway, but it shows like.
It shows stuff. Like I'm.
No, not even.
Let's just.
That's
That's what I'm saying. Let's revisit.
That's the thing. It was way less.
Graphic.
I would say it's far more calm than what everything
what
made
the
it out to
outcry
be
was?
going into it.
Huh.
Like there wasn't even like anything.
Well, they allude to it that first episode. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, they're doing this right away. Oh, this is when the I'm
There
guessing
was an attempted assault, but there was no assault. Unless that's assault, but I don't know. I'm not going to be the one to determine whether or not it was.
Attempted assault is assault because you attempted assaulting.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like that's.
But on the other end, there was straight up murder.
well, well, right. Well, and then also,
What's worse? All of it's bad.
I mean,
Sure, it's
Yeah.
but it goes back into the question of how adult do we want Star Wars to get, and I think the clear answer is that they want it done in a more violent way, if that makes sense. Like they're okay with horror.
I think it's to not dismiss the fact that these things definitely happened, but were never talked about.
Sure.
I think that's what it is.
Well, and that begs the question then, do those things belong in a children's franchise, or has, as I said, this franchise is being so multifaceted that it isn't for children anymore because, since the original inception, While for Children has captured the minds and hearts of adults around the world.
But that's why they have the younger shows for the kids, like the cartoon, the Young
options.
Jedis or whatever it is, so every age bracket has their Star Wars to watch.
Star Wars. And that it's an interesting one because I still struggle with the concept, but at the same time I'm excited for a horror show. So
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel. I don't know if this is a good thing for Star Wars as a whole or an inevitable, evolution of the franchise, or is it a cash grab and pushing out the intended audience?
A little both.
Right. That's like I don't know, and I guess is it even a question that's worth diving into because it's the end of the day it's more content and obviously stuff that we like. it might not suit all of our wants, but like for example, Moshko isn't as interested in Ahsoka
Cartoons.
season 2 and all the things that I've talked about. Yeah, right, Clone Wars.
Yeah.
That's a little too fantastical.
Right, but that's what I see Star Wars as, is a fantasy. And and when we go too into the realism, it kind of loses its allure to me.
Well, I always wanted to know who was building the Death Star, and well, we kind of saw it.
Well,
even
Prisoners.
but see, even that is like the building of the Death Star is fantastical. Like that's fantasy.
I mean, to be fair, it is the Death Star. I get his point. I get his point. But Moshko's like, but what screws did they use though?
They still needed engineers and whatnot for it. So
I like how this turned into a Clerks conversation.
hey, he was ahead of his time back then.
Wasn't he supposed to be here today?
Why don't we switch gears and talk about video game adaptations?
Let's talk about The Last of Us. Big old spoiler alert for episodes 2 and 3 of The Last of Us, and that's a big deal. It's also a spoiler alert for the game. It's a spoiler. Like this is first off, how wrong was I?
We were both Minty, you and I were both wrong.
I thought that was going to be the season finale. I did not think that was going to be episode 2, and it is so funny hearing Pedro Pascal talk about it, saying that's the only reason he signed on, is that he didn't have to do 2 seasons. Is that he knew he was getting killed off early on.
You see, in one of the interviews, they're talking like, it's like, all right, you were this person, you died. You were this person, you died. He goes, I like to die.
Oh, he's the new Sean Bean. You haven't heard this? Everyone's calling him the new Sean Bean.
So anytime you see Pedro, you just got to yell out Boromir. Oh man,
him dying, man. Wow. First off, it was so close to the game, but then at the same time, so spectacularly different. That this is one of the first, and this is the best example of escaping the source material to give people more. It is by far the biggest and best change that I've seen to a property. Like most times when they make changes, you're like, I can see how that's cool. I kind of like the original. This time I actually prefer this. Like I know that Tommy being there. For anybody who is unaware of what I'm talking about, in the soul, the I guess the heart and soul of the second game is when Abby, who at first you have no idea what her reason you're playing as this character, seeing this character, kills Joel. And the rest of the game is about playing as Abby, discovering why she killed Joel, and then playing as Ellie as she's on her path of revenge. So the game becomes this loop of revenge where a loop of violence, essentially, because you have Joel, who kills all of the Fireflies, including a doctor who did not need to be killed. And I'd be honest with you, when I played the game, I killed that same doctor. I did. I'm not going to lie. I didn't need to, but I was like, you were about to cut her open. And I did. I killed the same doctor, so I can't. Anyway, that turns out to be Abby's dad, and Abby's dad in the rest of the game is where you discover that slowly. But the show opens up and tells us this immediately. So her motivations are set right up front, which was an interesting change. But Joel then killing the Fireflies, her coming back to kill Joel, Ellie coming back to kill Abby, just is a cycle of vengeance and violence that is continued through each other, and they all think they're the hero. Right?
And
Joel
every villain thinks they're the villain or the hero.
So there is no villain. That's why so many people weren't on Team Joel. And when Joel died, they did not feel bad about it. But so many people also said it's the worst game ever made. And I cannot believe they killed the antagonist so early and are forcing me now to play with Ellie, who some people didn't like from the first game. I personally thought the dynamic was great, and it was one of the first times a follow character was so helpful. She did so much to keep me alive through those games. I don't hear any complaints about Ellie. Because how many games have we played where somebody has to follow you around and you're like, oh, I got to go back for so-and-so.
Yeah.
You never felt that way with Ellie.
I never played the games, but so basically in part 2, Joel dies without knowing why he was killed.
Well, he doesn't really know either in the game. At least you don't.
In the game, he didn't know.
Well, he kind of figures it out. Because again, they even open like in the game. He's like, "You said, Joel, like you know us," and he's like, "Well, we do." Bang, shoots him in the legs and takes him out. And then it's her giving him that same speech. He gives a cooler line in the game. In the line, he goes, "What?" I forget exactly I'm going to butcher this, but it's something along the lines of, "Whatever speech you've been rehearsing in the mirror, just say it and get it over with." Instead of, shut the fuck up and do it already. No, I like his moment of just interrupting her because he's just annoyed with it. But he definitely gives a more badass line in the game.
I want to say, as somebody that's entirely new to the franchise, this show has like captivated me so that I didn't know how invested I was into these characters. Like, and Minty will tell you, like, when they took Joel out, I cried. Like, there was legit tears falling from my face.
You cried episode 3.
Yeah, because the momentum from episode 2 carried on, and I was just I felt everything that people were feeling, especially in the meeting when they were talking about whether or not they want to go exact revenge on these people.
Oh, see, a lot of that's new.
Oh,
so halfway through so I pulled Menti with Andor in the third episode, where I was on my phone and then I just went to bed.
I think a lot of people I'm very interested on what the viewership is, because this is a lot of time. This is the moment that people said they hated the game.
Yeah. Well, I never played the second game.
But people hate it because of this. Hate it vehemently. Personally, I think it's great. I think it's great because Joel, to a lot of people, is not a hero. Joel is a person on a redemption path, but he did horrible things. And to Abby, he is 100% a villain. He killed 18 people, and then including her father.
Right.
Who was not armed and could not defend himself.
Right.
So to her, this is the villain. And that's what's so beautiful about the story, is that it is a cycle of violence that only they I don't, not to spoil things, but the way the game ends is a recognition of that. And it's very, very cool how it happens. Interesting enough, I do like how how Abby in the show versus Abby in the games is jacked.
Yeah,
Abby in the games has some arms, and she just beats Joel to death with the golf club. There's no stabbing. She just keeps walloping until it's over. Where in the show, when I don't think that would have happened. I think that stab kind of needed to happen.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense with the two of them fighting. But when you're playing the game and you're playing as Ellie, and then you come across Abby, like, you play as Abby a bunch through the game, and when you're Abby, it's not that it's easier, but she can definitely take more of a hit.
Yeah.
And then when you play as Ellie and you have to go up against her, you're like, that's right, she's a lot bigger. Like, so it's anyway. The difference between the actresses in the show is it's kind of like how originally we wanted Vin Diesel as Venom, and then it ended up being Topher Grace, and you're like, that makes more sense. That against Tobey Maguire, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make sense.
No, it does. If Abby was super jacked like in the game, Ellie wouldn't. This Ellie that we were watching the show probably wouldn't stand a chance.
Bella Ramsey isn't gonna do. Yeah, I mean they try. They show with her getting punched in the face in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing her best to stand up to that, but this Abby is not as intimidating.
Yeah.
Game Abby, there's times where she just grabs Ellie, and you're like, ooh, well, that's over. Ooh, you're not getting out of that stranglehold. And I don't think that the show Abby is going to be as hard to escape. At least for Bella Ramsey, who, took out the giant in Game of Thrones when she was 8.
Different world.
But the same spirit, damn it.
So what's your take? Do you think
I think the writers killed it. I think the idea to kill Joel.
No, they killed him.
Second episode was
and I think
an amazing story.
And here the big difference from the game is that episode, that attack on the town, doesn't happen.
Right.
There is no attack on the town. Actually, Tommy is with Joel. Not what's Ellie's love interest name? I forget.
Dina.
Dina, who's awesome. I like her in the show. She's
cool.
She's great in the game too. But anyway, she's not there, so it's a whole big contention between them about whether or not to go out and do this. And Ellie wanted vengeance, but they're following Tommy, who's just like, I'm out. Like, I'm coming after you. And they couldn't really do that in the show because of how they set him up in this town. So having the town be attacked and having him be the level-headed brother and going like, look, I have to be here for the people.
Yeah.
I can't just go out on a vengeance hunt right now. And that also shows that Ellie normally would be on that team, but she's so out of it.
Oh, yeah. She's enraged.
Right.
Yeah. You think he voted no?
No. I don't think
no. Tommy. I don't think Tommy voted no.
I mean, if he did, that would have been him going against his word, because he already said, no, I'll back you. And
he's going to back her, but didn't mean he was going to go.
But I do think that the decision in the story to kill off Joel as the catalyst of this vengeance tale was brilliant, and I think the game is outstanding and wildly overhated for no reason. If it's just because you lost Joel, you're only looking at from your point of view and not seeing how the rest of the world could have seen Joel and how in the story it makes sense and sets up a really cool adventure for Ellie, who, if we think that Carl was the actual story of The Walking Dead, Ellie's the real story character of
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. You got to play as her defender, but the story was about saving her.
So I'm just concerned about Joel.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
You're concerned about him?
Well,
he's gone, buddy.
I know, so I'm off the show.
Right?
No, don't.
My mom ruined this for me, by the way. My mom texted me, they killed him already? And I didn't watch it yet. We were actually recording the show. I was like, oh, great. I just got the show. All right, cool.
Wow.
But she doesn't want to watch anymore.
I ruined it on Facebook for a lot of people with Game of Thrones. I was like, ding dong, the king is dead when they finally killed Joffrey.
Oh,
wow.
I mean, I'm not like
you jerk.
Like I said, I didn't finish the third episode. I'm not like dying to see the end of it. I'm not dying to see the next episode 4. I almost want to put it in the realm of once they killed off Rick, I was like, the show's not really that interesting. I
agree. I understand it. I understand it for a lot of people. I do.
Yeah.
I do get that.
I feel the difference there is that I think season 2, like for people like me, if you don't recap like the last season before you go into it, you're dealing with recency bias. So for me, like when I was tearing up because Joel died, it was like, dang. But I also knew like it was a perfect handoff for Ellie. So now I'm more interested to see like what happens to her on this path that she's taking now.
Well, and that's, I think, a point, Moshko, that you're kind of dancing around is how connected people are to the characters, not necessarily the show's title. So when you think of Last of Us, you think of Joel. When you think of Walking Dead, you think of Rick. Also, why when you think of Star Wars, you think of Luke, and why people hated those other stories. You see what I'm saying? Like, the connection to the individual characters in the franchise sometimes are more valuable than the plot of the franchise itself.
Right.
And Last of Us fights that, which is interesting because it pits the fans against each other. It pits the fans of character versus the fans of plot. And the plot that drives that story, very character-rich, makes sense to kill Joel. It's like, and now most people will go, you should kill him at the end. Yeah, but then that's less of a story for Ellie, which I believe is the actual main character of the journey of violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went on a diatribe there. I just went off on
No, it's right, but with me being more invested in Joel, like I'm there's a ton of debate on the old wonderful internet about when someone is saying that, when they're like, oh well, it's if you're just like Joel, then you're not invested in the entire story.
Oh, I know, I get it. It's a lot of it's you don't like women because you don't want to follow
all that garbage. Which is
I guess.
Wow, what?
No, yeah, I can see where the argument would come from. I think it's a stupid argument, and I think anybody you actually have a rational conversation with in the real world would never have that back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen that kind of stuff online. I've seen it happen to I've seen some crazy accusations be thrown out to some of my friends who are just like the nicest people in the world based on the stupidest reasons that are outside of all sorts of stuff. So my point is in these kind of conversations, I don't believe a person who takes the argument there actually wants to have a conversation with you about your feelings of the topic. It's more of an outlet. You know what I mean? It's not a discussion about the thing that you're talking about. It's let's change the topic. That's what it seems like that argument is for. And no, because I understand why people wouldn't want to watch it because again, your connection was to Joel. If you didn't feel connected to Ellie, that's not on you. I do feel connected to Ellie, and I do like how the story kept going, and I really like I like growing with Abby as a character who's a weird take to have for a video game, is to then play immediately afterwards to play as Ellie, or to play as Abby, and you're like, hold on, I'm playing as the person who just killed Joel?
Oh, wow.
I'll just walk her into a zombie. Like, I don't it's a weird road to take, but then you start to uncover her story and why it happened, and then all of a sudden it's like, I don't know who to feel bad for anymore. And then as Ellie's story is going, spoiler alert, without getting too spoilery, she starts doing some wild shit because she's put in situations in this path of vengeance that do the ends justify the means start becoming a very serious topic of the show. I love the way that the second story unfolds. I think the second story is wildly overhated, but I get why some people are so connected to characters they have to quit at that moment. How many people stopped at The Walking Dead after Glenn?
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the viewership tanked. Comics wise, people were like, done. It took me a week to pick the book after Glenn. There's a lot of times where that, like, hell, Luke dying in Last Jedi was an end for a lot of people. They were like, all right, well, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
There are characters that just mean so much to an individual franchise. The concept of getting rid of them is to get rid of some of the fan base because they connected and related to that character. And that has nothing to do with your thoughts on feminism and all sorts of stuff. It's just whether or not you connected deeply with a character. That
and if you don't, it's not bad.
Right. And look, I'm on the opposite side of this fence. I think Ellie takes the story to an amazing place because of the darkness that starts to unfold at her and the empathy that starts unfolding for Abby. Now, the show does something different by telling you who Abby is right away, but you have this weird change of heart by playing as both characters where you're starting to do worse things as Ellie and you're starting to better understand Abby, who, all said and done, is not a terrible person. Except for absolutely is because of what happened in the beginning of the game. So it's a weird, it's same reason why some people hated Eternals, because it has no clear villain. Everybody is kind of a villain in that story. Everybody's also kind of the hero of that story. The Deviants didn't want to die. The Eternals fought because they didn't want to destroy the Earth, or they had to destroy the Earth to create more universe. Like there's
That's
no
what
good
it
or
was
bad
about?
person. What? The Eternals?
Just
Don't.
He did a good job of stopping me in my tracks because I was going to keep going for a while, I'm sure.
Do you think that they should have done this season kind of like how the game was, like not letting you know who Abby was for a while?
Well, they already told us who Abby was.
Yeah.
Right from the first episode, I'm going to kill Joel. And then the second episode, she's like, don't go in there, Papa. And then you're like, all right, now I know exactly why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Should they have done it like the game, whereas you found out maybe episode 3
No,
her backstory?
I understand the change. I don't know if that change is better or for the worse. I'm going to go with the better because unlike the game where you experience it through acting as that person, you are on a journey with them on the show. So your decisions as Abby help uncover who Abby is. The show kind of has to lead you into carrying it to some degree as someone who came out of left field takes out a main character right away. And now, oh, by the way, they're important. Like, I would be interested on whether or not Abby's going to be in the show much at all. Because they could just not have her in the show much and then just focus on Ellie since there's only a couple episodes left.
And let's do a
There's
final showdown type.
3 or 4 episodes,
and then just have like 2 episodes just Ellie, and then have Abby have one good half an episode or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then get to their showdown. But it depends on how they want to tackle this, and they're already doing it out of order. Which it doesn't hurt it.
7 episodes total this season.
Doesn't hurt it by any means. Still good.
3 in.
But let's change topics here. I am sorry to see you go, Moshko. I understand it, but now you'll understand when I stop watching Andor.
For what it's worth, season 4 of You is fantastic.
Really?
So.
Yes.
Oh wow!
I'm 2 episodes in.
Oh, it's great.
I haven't finished season 2, but I read both books. And then I was amazed that there was a season 3 because of how the book goes.
Season 4 is definitely starting off better than season 3.
Well, I hear season 3 is not that great.
No, it is not.
Okay, but you have to get through it.
He's in another country, and the stories.
Yeah, I never finished
you
season 2,
because he's still
you still need to watch it. Yeah, it all connects. But this is going to tie up all loose ends, and
I'm amazed we're talking about you.
You.
What was it called? Hidden Bodies? I think that's the name of the book.
Really?
It's very much like Dexter, where because you spend so much time in Joel's head that you get a very Joe. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Joel.
Last of Us.
Joel.
Joel, get up. Anyway, all right. Let's move over to Super Jersey Comic Expo. Let's recap a con a little bit here. So first off, sorry we missed you, Huey. But as we've been talking about on this show for a while, we got the opportunity to take over their social medias. You can say hijacked, you can say offered on a silver platter, you could say all sorts of things. But it ended with us taking over their social media eventually. Yeah, we got a really, really great opportunity, and Paul is amazing. He asked us to help manage their social media, but they had some issues on that first day, so I ended up running a lot of errands. And I just want to say thank you so much to P Features, who strapped a mic to his body and with multiple camera people went out and just owned the floor for almost 5 hours straight each day, like just nonstop interviews, content. I mean, it was incredible how much you pulled off, and
good job.
So good.
I was trying. I knew that was the focus, and you said, "Hey, this is what we need. Get out there." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And to be honest,
dude,
Veen on the first day he's a huge help because he helped give me a little bit of direction.
Fiends are one of the videographers that helps out with the show, a little behind the scenes. He's awesome. He does weddings. He does short films. He does a bunch of stuff. Trabland.com. I think he's also Trab on YouTube. Definitely worth checking out. He is incredible at his craft.
Yeah. And we went out there and really just made things happen. He found shots, locations.
Dude, I was running back and forth, and at one point, I just look over, and Features is talking to Colossus from the Deadpool movies. And then I'm like, again, make a full lap, and I come back, and they're still going back and forth like they're best friends. And I'm like, what are they talking about?
Stefan Kapicic, amazing. That guy, he was so amped to do it because we went over. It's like, hey, represent that comic podcast. We're also taking over the social for the con. He's like, oh no, great, let's do this. I was like, are you cool with holding the mic? He's like, yeah, give me that. We'll talk. He was ready to go, man. I'd shout out to him because he was great.
You talked to a lot of really cool people. Holly Chow was a really great interview. I thought that was really cool. It was nice seeing you with Michael Jai White.
Yeah,
because we've been talking about getting you there for a bit. It was nice seeing you there. He fangirled a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
Really fangirled a little bit. But you know what? You should have. You should have. Yeah, it was a weird convention. It was definitely the most unique convention I've ever been to. It was at the Adventure Crossing, the Dome.
The Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome in New Jersey, right by Six Flags. And
from what I hear, people like the floor because it's the grass.
Well,
it's AstroTurf. Let's get that straight.
There was this weird kind of
for walking on it.
But terrible for moving stuff.
When you pull carts through sand, that's kind of what it felt like. Because there were these weird little magnetic rocks. I'm going to call them magnetic rocks because they were on everything.
Yeah,
and
not rubber.
They're rubber.
It's rubber.
They weren't.
They're rubber.
Hardest rubber you've ever felt.
It's rubber.
It's all in your shoes.
It's ground up tire.
I don't even know how it got in my shoes. I had no holes in my soles at all. It's just
holes in my soles,
dude. It was everywhere. I have holes in my soles is great. I mean, that's amazing.
I've got a hole in my soul.
But yeah, no, the first day there was some weird stuff with the air conditioning, so it was real hot at some points. So the first day was although incredible to see from behind the scenes of how much goes on to run a con properly and how many times you got to run to Staples in a day. It was also it was a lot for the goers because there was a little bit of parking trouble in the beginning, and then you come into a hot event. Yeah. So it was a kind of a weird vibe for just a little bit of the show, and then all of a sudden I think the air just changed everybody. Once the air conditioning
it
popped
did
on.
for me. I was in another world like the first part of that day, and
especially the second day.
Yeah. Second day you walked in, you were cold.
Incredible. Well, yeah, but the vibe was so much better.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, the vibe was great while we were there. It was amazing how accommodating everybody was and how great the staff was to work with, especially trying to get connections to deal with some of the media, the guests and such.
Yeah.
The staff was incredible.
Well,
but there was issues.
The thing. Like you can judge these a lot of different ways, and maybe somebody was there just on Saturday and saw what was going on, but the rest of it, the back end of Saturday, all of Sunday, there's a couple different ways that you can gauge things, and overcoming issues and problems is kind of how I look at things on whether or not something is successful, and the fact that they pulled it through in the end. And
overcoming problem after problem.
Yeah,
that was miraculous to watch.
Good stuff.
Because the first day it was like a lot of things looked like they were kind of teetering, and it was just like nope patch, problem solved here. That's why I ended up in Staples. We were solving problems, baby. I was a part of the problem-solving committee.
Also,
just for the banners, but I was there.
And shout out to Paul, because he was running around everywhere, like trying to get a hold of him was just. It was like wait your turn.
Yeah,
you need a ticket. Yeah.
It was like that from time to time, but there was just it was incredible to watch, and it was incredible how well it was pulled off, especially by the end. We were partnered with ComicUniverse, so we had a table with them, so we had a nice big presence. And ComicUniverse did well. We got a lot of signups. Thank you everybody who.
Yes.
Thank you Disc Golf.
Shout out to Derrick.
Yeah, Derrick and the Disc Golf Gatekeeper media game. Whew. Buddy, you guys seem to love that one.
Yeah.
We're doing that all the time now. And Derrick's just the best to work a con with. He's so gung-ho and happy to be there. So in general, it was a phenomenal experience. We got to meet and talk to a lot of specialty features. Got to meet and talk to a lot of really cool people, which hopefully you'll see content from us sprinkling on both our page and the Super Jersey Comic Expo page. So be on the lookout for all that. You'll find bigger, more
longer content.
Longer form.
Robust.
I guess is the best way.
Yeah.
Longer plus. Longer plus. You'll see a lot of cool stuff on the YouTubes too. So head over there. I want to make a nice, we'll do a Trabland exclusive.
Subscribe here.
But yeah, I can't say enough positive things about this con, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. And it seems like, fingers crossed, we already got our in for next year. So, hey. We want to see you there. If you could make the trip, go to Six Flags for a day, go to Comic-Con for a day. It's a hell of a weekend, and I cannot wait for next year.
Just don't stay at a hotel near the airport.
No. And then if you end up at that comic shop, ComicUniverse, and he's taking a nap, woo!
And it
Mike gets his own room.
sounds like there might be our presence in a couple weeks down at Fan Expo.
Well, yeah, we officially got some press passes for that, so we plan on making an appearance there. How we're gonna do that, I'm not quite sure, but I think we'll
figure it out.
We're gonna do exactly what we did for Super Jersey Comic Expo. Super Jersey, look.
Yep.
That
won't be a
how do we
booth,
do
but
this, guys?
floating around.
Yeah, that's going to be fun too. It'll be fun to go as press without a table, because we usually always do the table.
Yeah, and sometimes a lot of us don't get to actually see the con or experience
we end up at
it.
Staples.
Yeah.
That's the one plus side of doing the cons at the Philly Convention Center. There was a Staples in the convention center.
Oh yeah.
Had to go down a floor.
Yeah, well, that's because apparently they had to put a rush job because the original people. That's what I'm saying. That first day just feels like a lot of things were happening, and it was just really cool. That team they were great. They were great. I also loved was it Screen Crush?
Screen Crush, yeah.
Their after hours event was pretty cool. And again, another one where problems happened, but the way they dealt with it was awesome. I forget his name, Ryan something.
I know his dog's name is Doug.
Yeah. Well, his channel's great. And we've watched his channel a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Screen Crush is awesome.
And the Heavy Spoilers guy. And it's cool. I love how connected they are. But they, apparently the mic broke because at the event, so they had to move somewhere else where they didn't have a mic, and he was just holding up his computer. And he just kind of did it. He did the show, kind of off the cuff, and was like, at this point, I would be passed out on the floor. But he had, a whole presentation prepared where even the dude from Heavy Spoilers pops up and poisons him to try and delete his channel. So, the interactivity between them was just really cool to see. So that was a lot of fun. He's going to be starting a podcast too, which is going to be fun. I'm going to look out for that one because he's doing it with the co-creator of Deadpool or Gwenpool,
cool.
who's had her hands in a lot of comics and a lot of behind the scenes stuff at Disney for Star Wars. She had a great story where apparently Kathleen Kennedy didn't know about the cancellation of Acolyte. and was reaming out Bob Iger to a point where everybody heard it throughout the halls. Wow. It was like so I can't wait to hear more of those stories. I'm just saying, I'm excited for that show. That's going to be a great show. She was awesome. It was, but yeah, a lot of really cool stuff.
Nice.
All right, Huey. Well, you missed it. What do you got for us? You had any questions?
Not really. I mean, you sort of kind of explained everything. It was just more of how it went behind the scenes, and you end up Staples.
Yeah.
So, just features. How was it getting around to get to the celebrities? How was the setup for that?
It wasn't too bad. So one of the things I really dug about the space is that it was huge. It was like being at New York Comic Con, just without the New York Comic Con crowd, where you just feel so congested. Yeah,
but in a good way. It felt like Keystone, but it was busy.
Right.
Yeah.
You know how Keystone, you just got
Keystone
it was just free reign to go because no one showed up. But you could go really. It was the best con for a fan ever, and that's what this was. This was a busy convention that was never congested.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the only thing I really had to deal with was like lines. So trying to get people as soon as their line freed up, make sure they had a little bit of time they could spare. So that was mostly it. But outside of that, it was great, man. You could really move around.
Because I saw Paul put up that this is the most attendance they've ever had at their con. So
over 5,000.
Over 5,000. So that's great just to hear all this, the space.
Over
that's great.
5,000.
Well, I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what he pulls off. I couldn't be prouder of Paul. It was. I mean, there was a really heartfelt moment where we watched the Lost episode from Comic Trips. That was a really cool moment. It was. I can't say enough good things. Again, it had every emotion you would want it to have, being as though Paul was running it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It just felt good seeing him. It felt good being there. That last episode and the moment how they treated Larry Lieber, who everybody was concerned, especially with how Stan Lee turns out he was treated towards the end, and everyone's on edge. But the amount of respect they treated him with, and how they were so accommodating to everybody's needs. I mean, Paul picked up Jim Shooter himself.
Yeah.
Because they had issues with getting Ryan, so he was just like, all right, I'm gone. And he went over and picked him up. So that's what I mean. It's just it was awesome.
To be a fly in that wall for that car ride.
Oh, he said it was great.
Just
in that car ride.
To be honest, too, even with all the hiccups that were experienced at the con, a lot of the people that I end up talking to and some of the guests, they all said I'm having a really wonderful time.
Well, they didn't notice. That's how good their team is.
Yeah.
That's
we noticed being behind the scenes more than things. We saw issues with the fire marshal at one point.
Oh God, really?
It was towards the end of the con. It was just people parked in a fire lane, so they weren't letting people in or out. But
he was out front going, "Let me show you something."
All right, let's switch gears. Real big thanks to Paul, and real big thanks to the team at Super Jersey Comic Expo for giving us access.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to sprinkle out content for the next few weeks. You're going to be seeing features all over the place. And who knows, features just might become our mobile correspondent. We might just learn how to mic features up for good and just send him out on the way. Hey, features, you're the one who's going to Fan Expo.
You do a good job.
You do a good job. You do. Oh, Michael Jai White.
That was hilarious.
That was such a good interview. It was so funny.
Oh, man.
So good. Wrong, and I will correct you. All right, let's move over to our
bring us
comics.
home, Menti.
We got a few. Oh, bring us home.
Couple books.
Yeah. Oh, we are doing. You said bring us home. I was about to
bring us
home.
He's about to go. All right, dude.
Yeah, right. All right. Let's. I want to save GI Joe. Because I want to end with the longer.
Let's not do all 15 though.
No, I only got 5. I only got 5 this week because again I didn't have time. I had to read this right before the show.
You kidding me? A couple.
First, we got to talk about Predator Spider-Man. Predator vs. Spider-Man was phenomenal.
Yes,
it was so much fun. So spoiler alert for all these books, but oh my god, was that a fun book?
Dude,
they didn't hold back at all.
I almost didn't pick it up. I'm glad I did.
Oh, good.
All right, so let me ask you, right? as you were reading it, did it give you the same vibe as the first, not the first Predator movie, but
Second
Predator 2? Yes,
Predator
yes,
2. The whole,
yes.
It is all the best parts of Predator 2 is Spider-Man. I'm telling you, bro. Even down to the train scene.
Yes. Oh my goodness! I was sitting. I was like, "Oh, this is amazing."
This is also a psychotic predator. This is not a predator we've seen before. Like,
right
here, little spoiler alert. Since you guys haven't read it yet, I won't spoil the whole thing. But what he grabs a dude by the face, just rips his skin off. Right. So this book has a lot more people being de-skinned than other predators have had in the past.
You think people are recalling him to Skinner?
Well,
yeah.
He then picked up the dude's face and held it over his like a mask. And then later on, you see him still with the face on him.
Yeah, it was.
This
demented.
is like it's a very out there psychotic predator. But yeah, can't wait for the next issue of this one.
And great cliffhanger at the end too.
Yeah, and who shows up? Okay, hold on. Let's see if they can guess. Who would you want to show up? What a Spider-Man villain you would want to show up in a book like Predator vs. Spider-Man? Come on, Moshko.
There's only one.
You got this.
Carnage?
No.
What?
Although
that would have been
That's
cool.
a good one. All right,
That'd have been cool.
There's two. But no, come on, one more. Give one more.
If you're going to go after the Predator, what villain would be perfect for hunting
Raven?
it?
Yeah,
There you go.
There you go.
Nice.
Yep. Craven showing up at the end was great. It's great, wonderful. All right, any other thoughts on that book, or was I the only one who read it?
Oh, I'm definitely getting number
great.
2. Issue 2 is a must.
No question.
Hell yes.
No question.
Absolutely.
No question.
This might be the best Predator versus series outside of. No, I'm
The
thinking
Wolverine one was good.
Yeah,
The Wolverine one was
We're
good.
not there yet.
Okay.
This is a much better open than any of them.
Yes.
Definitely better than
Yes.
Black Panther opening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Black Panthers was just terrible. Black Panthers wasn't good. But that's okay. All right, let's move over to next big book, One World Under Doom, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's making the Avengers look like chumps, man. Issue after issue. Issue after issue, he's doing nothing but like, did you not think this was you did not think this was legit? You didn't think I was elected? You think I'm
Right.
pulling something? Every issue feels like it's the same thing. It's just like Avengers try and do some kind of sneaky way to discredit him, and then he gets then Doom comes out like, no, I'm still doing it for real.
Yeah.
I just made them deals they couldn't resist, and they said yes.
The Avengers look like they just can't get right at all.
Right, and all their plans are just bizarre and make them look terrible, and they know that as his play. Like, this whole issue is about how they know that he's using their decisions against them. So, and he's just making them, like, support for them just dwindle away. So what do? They partner with the villains.
Yeah.
So you're going to get videotaped with all the villains. Like, all right, I guess.
But wait, to be fair,
It was cool.
It was a cool, and it was probably I don't want to say the smartest idea, but it was a good idea in the terms that they were thinking. But it sucked when they found out it just wasn't going to work.
It's just full of weird ideas. Weird ideas that they thought were going to work that just kind of don't. Like Doom on a dinosaur is not bad.
I
but
like
it's
it.
just so consistently weird that it's just like he has a cosplaying dinosaur.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
fine.
consistent with the Doom character that we know. Honestly,
It's not consistent, but it's just weird seeing him ride a dinosaur that's dressed like him. It's just bizarre. It's hard.
You know why all the Avengers plans are going to shit? It's because who's leading the team?
Well, Iron Man, really.
No, but I mean, Captain
Iron Man.
Marvel's
She's
Captain
big-
Marvel's
well,
front and center,
which
and she's
let's
the
be
one coming up with
honest.
the ideas, and she's horrible. She's a horrible leader.
where's Steve?
Not always, but they do portray her as a terrible leader a lot, which is weird because they want you
Right,
to root
which
for
makes
as
her a
a
horrible leader.
But then at the same time, they do like Civil War II, and you're like, well, all right, I guess.
Exactly.
All right, so it's not a bad book. It's not a great book. I love seeing Doom, but I don't know if I don't know. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, Batman Hush 2. Anybody read this? Oh wow, Moshko took his headphones off for this one. This was great. It was a lot of fun. I won't spoil much because of Moshko. How do I say that? Well, I guess I kind of have to. The Red Hood plays a huge role, and that's phenomenal. It's Joker surviving at the hands of Batman, Batman coming to terms with the Joker surviving, and the Red Hood being pissed about it. It's great.
Yeesh.
It's great. It's a good issue. Go ahead, Moshko. You can put it back on. So anyway,
back now.
towards the end, All right, last one before we get into G.I. Joe. Wonder Woman.
I loved
Absolute
it.
Wonder Woman
I loved
was
it.
so good. And I know people hate this new arc, and I don't understand why. I think it's great. Her being in the Coliseum is just a lot of fun in the first place. The way they tell that story that she was told as a child, but the God visiting her early on and kind of telling her how to maneuver around it. The way they had 3 stories woven together through past, present, and, well, no future, but like, I don't know.
Well, leading into what was supposed to be the future.
Well, it was the gods' other story. So it was Diana had 2 and the gods had 1. I guess one of them was more Cersei's story. So it was the mother's story, the daughter's story, and this god's story. And the way that they weave them together, phenomenal. The art, so good. Yeah. This is a great Wonder. Like, all my complaints with the first Wonder Woman arc, which weren't real complaints, to be honest, because it was just that the art was a little flat. It's still interesting art, but it's just a little flat. This has a lot of life to me, and I think this arc is a must right now. If you're into the absolute stuff, I think that's a beautiful book.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was amazing how they wrote it. I love the subtle dives into Greek mythology in certain parts that
and the way
played
it's
into the role.
changed.
Yes.
It's changed ever so slightly to fit the absolute world and how it's all hell.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It was so good. Anyway, great book.
Yes.
Great book.
You got any book though?
You got any features? You got any random ones you want to just throw together real quick?
Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 2.
I need to get to that.
Yeah, it's okay. So it So it's less weird and abstract than the first because you understand more of the Martians.
You're sitting. Okay.
Yeah, you understand more of the Martians. What I want to say, what he's there for, what he's trying to achieve.
Purpose?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And you also understand what the correlation is between him and the main character. Yeah, he's right next to me.
He's right next to you, Features. He can hear everything you're saying.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
But it's still a good read. I still need to go on. So issue 3 is a must. I'll leave it at that without spoiling so much. Yeah.
Better than issue 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Better than issue 1.
All right, Minty, come on back.
I'm back.
Again, so it does answer some questions.
Cool. I'm glad to know that.
Yeah.
So
that's out.
Yeah.
That's probably the only one I want to throw in there randomly.
Don't tell me because I will take my headphones off again. Ultimate Black Panther, yay or nay? 15. Is it getting better or is it still on this downward track?
It's not a downward track. They are making more sense of what you know right now.
All right, because does the story feel like it's coming to an end? Because I'm kind of done with the whole haunted vibranium. Like I was really into everything they were doing, and now I'm like, this side quest is not hidden. Go back.
Yeah, it's not done with that, but I think it's changing it so it doesn't seem more like the vibranium itself is actually haunted, more so than if you don't mind me saying this, because it is a spoiler for it. Okay.
Take his headphones off.
So it's considered dark vibranium, and there are a lot of different relics for it. And what it does now is it's actually leading to a portal to elsewhere. So I don't think the vibranium itself is haunted, but whatever dimension it's leading to, it's kind of seeping through the actual vibranium. But yeah,
Gotcha.
So it's
All right.
I mean, you can consider it good, or you can consider it like but I like it. It's making me want to get to the next issue, and that's all. That's that.
That's that.
That's
Come on back.
All right, in 3 words, magic. Number 4.
Fire. If you're into a cult,
Then you're
awesome.
Done. X-Men 15.
This is ultimate.
All right, moving on.
X-Men.
3 words. So just
Piece of
I
crap.
like it.
Piece of crap.
It's not crap though, but I like it.
All right, let's get to the creme de la creme, the best of the best. Oh my good goodness.
Ah.
G.I. Joe.
Oh, my
G.I.
God.
Joe number 6 was so
Hamburger.
good.
Oh, my God.
You know who I like now? Cobra
Who?
Commander.
Okay, so I'm gonna take my headphones because I didn't get to read that one.
You feel free because I'm going to spoil it anyway. You think you could plug
can't
your
hear
ears
him
from me? Get out of here.
You're 2
I'll
feet
try.
away from him.
Yeah, dude. No, you're
Just
sorry.
go upstairs.
Sorry, this is
No,
this
this
is
isn't
happening.
working.
This is happening. Okay, first
This
off,
isn't working.
First off, the fight between Duke and Cobra
Oh, God.
was so good. So well done. I love the use of color. I love the fact that they play with a lot of complementing schemes. Each page is like a really cool art piece itself because of how little color they use. I really like the way they play with that, which is funny because I don't like flat books usually. This is a very flat looking book, but I like the fact that they're doing untraditional things with color palettes.
Yeah, because some pages will have a lot, and then you turn the page, and it's like just reds and blues. And that's
Right.
it.
Well, it's because they complement each other so well. So one pops off the other, or they're muted when they want to be. So if they want to make it like they'll use earth
Yeah, like
tones.
this.
Yeah, right.
It's all blue.
It's very cool how
yeah.
they use color. But just moving with the plot here. When does the Baroness get bad? Because like right now, I feel like I'm digging the Baroness, and I'm sure at some point she's going to turn bad. Yes.
I don't think she's ever truly bad or good. I think she's always.
Is she always part of the team?
She's always part of. She's always out for herself.
So she's like a Deadpool.
I don't know. Jury's out in this book. I mean, it may be different.
She's cool.
I mean, that is kind of different. But
Who was the
typically
dude at
she's
the
a
end?
straight villain.
That is Hound.
The guy who's okay. Well, first off, the elephant in the room. Who's
Way to skip to the very
Yeah,
end.
I wasn't even talking that.
Were you talking about Clutch?
Oh,
Yes,
Sorry, Clutch.
Is
Sorry.
Clutch is Clutch a bad guy?
You said the guy at the end.
Guy, not robot.
He's a guy.
No, no.
He was the guy that was undercover in Cobra.
Okay, so,
Like
so that
issue
little
2.
ball that he still had, because they've zoomed in on the ball
Yeah.
that had the Cobra.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what does that mean?
Well, that was the thing
Wait.
that Cobra Commander had, right? And it just ended up with him. He stole it.
Okay.
I don't.
I don't know.
think
I don't
so.
know
I
if
think
I'm
something
supposed
else
to.
he stole.
Am I supposed to be happy he's back or now be concerned? Like, I don't. Is this a bad guy?
No, he's normally a good guy, but I don't know what they're doing in this universe.
Yeah.
So
All right, let's get to the Autobot or the Decepticon. Who was that?
Autobot.
Autobot.
Was it an
Good guy.
Autobot? Oh, was
Yes.
it a good guy? Oh,
Yes.
even better.
Yeah. So the red icon or the red symbol, that's the good guy. And
Yeah, for some reason I thought it was purple because he's a lot of purple on
There.
there.
Yeah, he's green. He's a green Jeep. Hound is awesome. Just from like the original comics and cartoons. The little laser on his back, and they could do like hologram projections usually.
Oh, that's cool. But now he's
So-
got rockets.
And I just realized that features didn't read this yet. I'm literally showing this on camera.
I was completely wrong about the whole Dr. Mindbender thing. So unless maybe that changes, but
Tell features
so
to cover his
funny.
eyes.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry about that. Are we
yeah,
out of
so-
spoiler territory for this? I mean, I feel like that was the biggest one.
Yeah.
All right, you can come back in, features.
yeah.
Okay.
Notice how he heard me. He heard the whole thing.
No, I actually didn't hear the whole thing. I used Ninja Focus to listen to my internal breathing.
So you didn't watch the screen and me putting things on camera?
I
I
closed
use
my eyes.
Ninja Focus.
You do a lot over there.
You do a lot.
You do.
So where would you put this there, G.I. Joe Mashko?
Oh, it's still great. Like it's still a great series.
Agreed.
I don't know if I need to rank that compared to the other books, but
I mean, to me, that's your number one.
well, the flagship book should be the best book.
Well, I mean, to you, it's the book I feel like you care the most about.
Well, it's the one that I rushed to read before this because I hadn't read anything in like a week and a half. So I wanted
It's your
to make
first
sure I got
choice
that
to
one in.
read. Like, if you're like, you get all your books that week. If G.I. Joe is one of the books, that's your first read.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like mine's Transformers
Like,
or
think
Ultimate
of all
Spider-Man.
your favorite books right now. I still feel like you would have G.I. Like, if you had Ultimate Spider-Man, if you had,
Yeah, it's still G.I.
Deviant,
Joe's
you'd
still
be-
first, then Ultimate Spider-Man. Actually,
Nice.
Batman's on the rise. I didn't read that Hush book yet, so I need to get to that.
Hush has been
Yeah.
good.
I feel like I had
It's-
that and didn't read it.
And they all feel like kind of lazy cash grabs to a degree, but I like lazy cash grabs. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. I mean, there are some books coming this week. I could tell you what I got. It's a weird week because there's some interesting things, but first thing, we kind of know where this is going. Yeah. Even without opening this book, I know where this is going. But Godzilla vs. Spider-Man, Godzilla versus books have not been great, but that's a one I cannot
But
miss.
It does have an amazing cover B. And even Minty will attest to that.
No one cares about.
It does
cover
actually
B.
have a really good cover B. Yeah, it does. It does. I still put it down, but it does. Long Halloween, the last Halloween. That's still rocking. Okay. That's this week. Yep. Cannot wait. Number 7, I believe. Right? Was that what said? Yeah. That's been great. Can't wait for that. This is also kind of cool. This is just some throwaway. Well, not really throwaway. It's like $2. Some
Planet
that's coming out.
Okay.
But I was like, the quality of the book seems really questionable. But I'll tell you what, the internals are awesome.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a lot of detail.
Yeah. So I'm excited to read this. Then Mike from ComicUniverse told me that I need to read We're Taking Everyone Down With Us from Image. So I got this to catch up on. This seems like it's going to be pretty cool. This is a weird week. I got the Power Rangers Prime just because the VR Troopers make an appearance, and I did not know, Baby Huey, that the Free Comic Book Day boom book is Power Rangers VR Troopers crossover. You son of a bitch! How do you not tell me about that?
I was saving it for the show because Free Comic Book Day is this Saturday. Make sure you get out and support your local comic book shops.
Oh, it's a fantastic weekend for all things comics.
Yes.
So,
Also, by the way,
yes.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's
all
happening.
Mysterio. So maybe we get the answer to if we find out if we were right or not. I shouldn't do that. I was always going to do it a little quick.
Don't do it.
Then I also got 3 of these for Lance because I promised that I was eventually going to read these. And Mike was kind enough to get on these. The first 3 trades of Something is Killing the Children. So my goal is to rush through that as soon as we have a kind of a week, which it seems like it's going to be.
And those trades are from like the very beginning on up?
I've got 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. I might have to read those after you if you don't mind.
He minds.
They're not mine to mine.
No.
You gotta talk to Mike.
I'll do that.
Yeah, I like how Masha's like, shut the up.
Somebody say do that.
Oh yeah. You can find the show at That Comic Podcast. You can find the show at That Comic Podcast everywhere online. That's at That Comic Podcast. Your social media choice, unless it's Twitter, which is That Comic Pod. But ThatComicPodcast.com is the best place to go. You will find Baby Huey's toy reviews. You will find our merch store. You will find the blog post that has a lot of the visuals of what we're talking about. But right now, the most important thing you could do to help support the show is head over to our YouTube channel. It's brand new. If you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, we are trying to branch out into video more and cover more ground as far as conventions and such like that. So you'll find exclusive content there. Head over to YouTube, give that a subscribe. And while you're at it, go over to Super Jersey Comic Expo because I still have access to those feeds. So feel free to follow them as well. But once again, I am Menti.
I am Moshko, and if you tuned in to check out who won the Saturday and Sunday raffle, we'll have that information out in the next day or 2.
Actually, we were going to do that tonight, but I guess we could say it now. I mean, we could.
I mean, if you have the names.
You got the names, Feach?
I got 1 name.
Just say it first, and we're going to email you.
Yeah, well, we were going to email. Actually, if you won, you will have our email already. How about that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
We got a lot of names, and here's the thing. For everybody who gave us their email address, you're awesome. Thank you so much. For everybody who subscribed to our YouTube, you're awesome. Thank you so much. For everybody who came over and told us about their new upcoming projects and that they wanted to have a chance to sit down and talk, thank you so much. Everybody who's interacted with the show, there were people who came literally to see us, and that was spectacular.
Yes.
It was awesome. Tara, thank you so much for showing up. Chris, thank you so much for showing up. It was an awesome event, and we met a lot of cool people, some of which were you all, which felt really good. So yeah, love you. Thank you.
So yeah, he's Menti. I'm Moshko.
And I'm Features.
And that's that.
I'm Huey.
Excelsior.
That's that.